Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all for attending this special event as we recognize Hoisington Cardinal legend, Bill Kimble. I first want to extend a special welcome to all of Bill's family and close friends that are with us here today. Would you guys all please rise? I cannot imagine how proud you all must be to be here celebrating this special occasion as a family. USD 431 is honored to be here with you today to celebrate our most accomplished athlete in school history. Today we'll be honoring Bill Kimble for three special reasons. First, we have renamed the Hoisington Invitational track meet the Bill Kimble Invitational. We have also named our track at Elton Brown Field Bill Kimble Track. And finally, we will be inducting Bill Kimble into the Kansas State High School Activities Association Hall of Fame. So Bill will be the first and only Hoisington Cardinal to be inducted into the prestigious Hall of Fame. With us today is Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Patrick Crowdis. Athletic Director, Mr. Farron Kraft. And Executive Director of the Kansas State High School Activities Association, Mr. Bill Faflick. Again, I want to welcome you to Hoisington High School for this special day. We now have four very special speakers that are going to be with us here today. So at this time, I would like to introduce our first speaker, Bill's wife, Beverly Kimble.
Well, I've got my little speech prepared and wrote out. Some of it might be, you might have already heard some of this, but I'm just going to go ahead and read what I've got wrote out. So I want to start out by saying my name is Beverly Kimble. I'm Bill's wife. I met Bill in 1974 when I started work at the Larner State Hospital in the laundry department. When I started, Bill was on vacation, but upon his return from vacation, the rest is history. We had our first son, Billy Jr., on September 11, 1977, and had our second son, Daniel Paul, on May 13, 1985. My husband passed away on December 21st of 2019 at home. For those that may not know of Bill Kimble and his accomplishments, I'm going to give a quick rundown. As a 1965 graduate, Bill Kimble is easily the most decorated athlete to graduate from Hoisington High School. Bill Kimble earned 12 gold medals from KSHSAA state track meets in 1963, 1964, and 1965. In each of those 3 years, he won the gold in the 100-yard and the 220-yard dashes, the 180-yard hurdles, and the 880-yard relay. He also helped his track team win 2 state titles. Bill holds the record for the 100-yard dash with a time of 9.6 seconds, or converted to meters is 10.5 seconds. Bill continues to hold the state records for the 100-yard and the 220-yard dashes and the most individual state-won track championships. Bill was also an accomplished football athlete and planned to compete for Texas, but he got homesick on his trip to Texas and therefore returned to Kansas, which Bill had told me he always regretted going back home. Then Bill participated in track and football at Garden City Junior College before being drafted to Vietnam. During the 1960s, black children were not allowed to ride the bus to school, but had to walk. On some occasions, Bill's coach, Elton Brownie Brown, would drive him to school and practice. This bond is credited for helping Bill achieve his track goals, but Bill also assisted others so they could meet their goals. One teammate speaks of how Bill helped him gain speed and stamina by pacing him through the first 220 yards of the 440-yard dash during practice. The same teammate believes that the 1965-mile relay team set a record due to Bill's assistance in developing their skills. Humble is the best word to describe Bill Kimble, although his records speak of greatness. Prior to his death, his family often wanted to recognize his accomplishments, but were told by Bill, "No one wants to hear about that. That was years ago, and I was just doing what I love best." And that is why we are here today at Hoisington High School to name the high school track in honor of Bill Kimble and rename the Hoisington Track Invitational to the Bill Kimble Invitational. Afterward, we will have the induction into the Kansas Hall of Fame. The family and I want to thank everyone for coming out today.
Thank you very much, Beverly. Our next speaker is Bill's daughter. She's very excited about this. Michelle Kimble.
Hello. I don't do well speaking in public. My anxiety gets the best of me, but it's for my dad. So, for those who don't know, I am the third child of his, the last of the girls, which he should have stopped right there, but you know, it is what it is. Growing up, I had to always hear about my dad and, you know, running track, playing ball, doing every time someone saw my last name when I'd step on the track, they would be like, "Oh, that's Bill's daughter. I wonder if she runs like Bill." Okay, well, I don't know. And so, you know, I'd take off and I'd run and I'd win my race, and it just kept going on and on and on. And every time I turned around, there was my dad, you know, always supporting me and doing whatever. I think I was in 7th or 8th grade, and we had a track meet over here. And so they were like, "We're gonna put you in the 400. I'm a sprinter. I don't do long distances around the tracks and stuff like that. So I asked Dad, I said, "So how do I run this race?" And he said, "Well, you come out your blocks like you normally would, and then just hold up." Nah. He's like, "Nope, hold up until you stay in about 3rd place till you get to that last turn." He said, "In that last one, just run." And I did. And the closest girl to me was probably about another 50 yards back, so it worked out. I guess I should have listened to him. But, you know, I can always say that he was always there supporting me. He supported his kids. He loved what he did. I, for one, am very, very proud to be his kid. Thanks.
Thank you, Michelle. Our next speaker is a close childhood friend of Bill, Willie Cheeks. Willie, by the way, is the sharpest dressed man in this building today, so. I don't even want to stand by him.
Well, like he just said, my name is Willie Cheeks, and first of all and most, I'd like to say I was really shocked. It was about 4 or 5 years I'd come through Hoisington, and they had tore the old junior high down, and I really didn't know that. You know, they hadn't been there since Hoisington was Hoisington, you know. The old junior high had been here. But anyway, I'd like to say, you know, I was here when Billy Wayne had broke all these records right out here on this track field right here, you know, and he was a hell of a runner. You know, he ran like a jackrabbit. And I remember we used to play football, and everybody always wanted Billy Wayne on their team because he was the fastest. So what we used to do is double team him, you know, where he couldn't outrun us to catch the ball, but he'd always say, "Look up." And then we look up, he'd take off, you know, and they throw him the ball, and he'd catch it and run a touchdown. Yeah, but I must really say, you know, Billy Wayne was really something else, you know. As far as I'm concerned, he kind of put Hoisington on the map, you know, because we ran against schools like, you know, Ellenwood, Lyons, Dodge City, Garden City, Liberal, and because nobody outrun him, you know. And I remember he went to Wichita Relays, and if I can remember, I think he took 2nd place, but he was a hell of a runner. And I also like to say, you know, one of his greatest things was when he went to Vietnam. You know, we threw him a big old party, surprised him, and we partied and had fun. Back in them days, you know, we had house parties, wasn't too many clubs we could go to. And He also was a hell of a roller skater, too, because in Great Bend, we used to roller skate every Wednesday night. And everybody roller skating, and he'd turn around and skate on the skates and do all kinds of stuff. And most of all, I really have to say his precious moments is when he had his daughter, Bridget. He was the most happiest man I ever seen in my life, knowing that he had a daughter coming. And I also like to say, I know he loved his other children, which I didn't get a chance to really know because I had moved away, and but I know he loved them just as much. And so I like to say, wherever Bill is right now, I know he's looking down on us and wish this would have happened while he was living. But like they say, everything happens for a reason. And so I just like to say, I'd like to take my hat off to Bill and say I love you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you, Willie. Final speaker today, Bill's daughter, Bridget Johnson.
Hello, you guys know my name is Bridget Johnson. I'm the oldest of the Kimble clan. We're here today to honor my father, Bill Wayne Kimble, but you know him as Bill Kimble. He was a 12-time gold medalist winner. He had a 100-yard dash, 9.6 seconds. 200-yard dash, 20.9 seconds. That's fast. They said he ran like a gazelle. They said he was fast and smooth and loose. We're here today because it all started with a Facebook post. Well, it started years back, but we're here because it started with a post that I posted on my Facebook page. A friend shared it to the Hoisington page, and then Dana, could you please stand? That's Dana. She contacted me. And from there, we're here today. It just took off. She got her wheels spinning and her connections, and we got it started. What do I need to do? What I need to do? Do this, do this, do that. We got it done. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I always wanted to do this years ago. My dad was so humble. He'd rather be on the fishing, at the fishing bank, as he called them, on the fishing bank. I said, Dad, let's do this. You have these great accomplishments. Let's do this. And as he said, and as Beverly said, that happened a long time ago. Ain't nobody interested in that. I said, but they are. It's history. You know you did this. You worked hard. And even growing up, I would say my dad was Bill Kimble. And the stories I would hear, oh, Bill Kimble, is that your father? I said, yes. Oh, he used to run, and the stories I used to hear about the track underneath the bleachers before the race, and his football stories, and they were very entertaining. And it's great because I'm still getting those stories. People are reaching out to me, and I really appreciate everyone for reaching out to me and telling me the stories of my father as well as my mother. My mother was Margaret Jean Johnson, and she went to Hoisington High as well, and they fell in love, and they had me. So, I love to hear the stories of both of them together. My dad also talked about when he used to travel with the team. When he didn't have shoes, him and his track teammates used to share shoes, swap out shoes, and how they used to just be there for him. But he also talked to me about the racism that he faced during that time. When they used to go to track meets, and they could eat here, but he had to eat in the bus, and how one time they went, I can't remember where it was, but he had to stay on the bus, so all the track team went into the bus and ate with him. It's just the unity that they had, and Coach Browning was right there with them. And I want to thank Joe. He reached out, and he's got this started, and this is great to be here. But I want to go back to the racism that he faced. He said it made him very angry. He said, but there's nothing he could have done at that time. He said he would just get on the track and just dust them. He said, I just dust them. He said, and then I would turn around and I'd run backwards, through the finish line. As I said, Dad, did you do that? He said, yeah, just dust them. There's nothing I could do about it but just show them on the track, and he did that. I want to thank as I said, Joe before, for getting us here today, the Hoisington track, the Kansas State. Thank you so much for honoring my dad, and we appreciate you guys for, just recognizing my dad's accomplishments and his greatness. Also to the Kimble legacy sitting out there in all the purple. We have this purple on because my dad was a K-State fan. That's always our rivalry. So, you know, we made these Hoisington, that we were on the float, and we was like, okay, what color? I said, we got to go with purple. That's his color. That was him. But he was a K-State fan through and through. So you guys, we're here today, and I know Dad is looking at us. He's smiling down, and he's happy. He's proud. You know, something that, you know, he didn't want at the time, but I know he did, and we made it happen. And I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. So all we got to do now is take a lap around that track where we can walk around the track out there. Yeah, the Bill Kimble track. Because you guys, you understand this is history in the making. It's history in the making. And I thank you for being here, everyone. And to the Kimble, I love you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Bridget. Appreciate that. I'd like to thank you all for sharing those words and stories with us today. As we all know, Bill Kimble was a generational sprinter, and he was ahead of his time as a track athlete. I grew up here in Hoisington, and I remember hearing stories about how Bill would literally run away from his competition. The name Bill Kimble was legendary as I was growing up, even though it was 20-plus years after he had graduated high school. I have a couple stories that I would like to share today, and these stories were told to me by other individuals. The first story came from a gentleman who's in attendance today, and this gentleman attended Roxbury High School, which is no longer a school, but it was a small school located east of Lindsborg, and he was in school there at the same time Bill was in school here. In 1965, which was Bill's senior year, there were 4 classifications of schools in Kansas depending on the size. You had the AA schools, which were the largest schools. Then you had the B, the A, the B, and the double B, and the double B schools were the smallest. At that time, Hoisington was a Class A. So at that state track meet that year, all the top sprinters in all 4 classes had agreed to have one unofficial 100-yard dash race to determine who was the overall state champ. And got further clarification on that story that it was really some of the sprinters from Wichita East High School, I think it was, that were really talking smack to Bill before the race, telling him, we're going to beat you. So they planned to do this race after the track meet to find out who was the overall state champ. However, after seeing the time that Bill ran, they decided that race was pointless. Bill Kimble was the overall state champ. And by the way, Bill ran a 9.6 second 100-yard dash that day, and the champion of the AA race, which was from Wichita East, ran a 9.8. So really not even close. It's a great story. Second story, I got this story from a gentleman just a week ago. And this gentleman graduated from Hoisington in 1968, so he would have been 3 years younger than Bill. He and his wife, who was also a 1970 graduate from Hoisington High School, were on a Potomac River cruise. And on that cruise, the legendary John Riggins was brought on as the evening star power. And for those of you who don't know, John Riggins graduated from Centralia High School here in Kansas, where he was a 2-time state champ in the 100-yard dash for the Class B division. And he went on to become an all-time great running back for the University of Kansas, was drafted into the NFL, and was later inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1992. Late one evening, that couple built up enough courage to approach Riggins, and they said, "Rock, chalk, Jayhawk." And Riggins replied by saying, "Kansas." Then he asked them where they were from, and when they said Hoisington, the first 2 words out of his mouth were, "Bill Kimble." Riggins went on to say that it still sticks in his craw, that that neither he nor his brother, who was also a noted sprinter, could never beat Bill Kimble in a race at any Kansas track and field events. This is amazing that 6 years later, an individual who had a stellar career at the University of Kansas, had a Pro Football Hall of Fame career, is still chafing over the fact that he could never beat Bill Kimble in a race. Last March, I received an email from Dana Schramer. Bridget, you stole my thunder here. Bridget's a 1999 grad of Hoisington, and she had emailed me last March about nominating Bill Kimble for the KSHSAA Hall of Fame. I want to say that Dana did play an instrumental role in all of us being here today, so I want to thank you, Dana, for your part in this. She provided me with newspaper articles and some other information regarding Bill and his accolades. And then she helped me get in contact with the family to start the nomination process. And with the help of the family, we did nominate Bill for the Hall of Fame last November. So during this process, that led the Hoisington administration to begin discussing a way that we can honor Bill here forever. So after discussions between myself, Mr. Crowdis, and Mr. Kraft, we decided that we wanted to rename not only our track meet, but also our track after Hoisington's all-time great, Bill Kimble. So at the October 4th, 2021 Board of Education meeting, it was unanimously approved to name our meet the Bill Kimble Invitational and our track the Bill Kimble Track. I think it is very appropriate that we now have Elton Brown Field and Bill Kimble Track, as legendary football and track coach Elton Brown coached Bill Kimble in high school. As we officially dedicate the Bill Kimble Track today, we would like to unveil the plaque that will be hung at the track for everyone to see and understand the significance that Bill had on Hoisington High School's history. We are proud to say that Bill Kimble's legacy will live on forever at Hoisington High School. Also, we were informed that Bill's 12 gold medals from his sophomore, junior, and senior years at the state track meet were stolen while he was serving in Vietnam. So Hoisington USD 431 would like the family to receive these 12 medals from the Kansas State High Schools Activities Association. Get in there with them. I'll just let them take some pictures. Yeah, get in here, Joel. Let's come on over here out of the way of the podium.
Daniel, you're in here. Daniel, get up here. Daniel.
So in that box, as we have learned today already, in that box, there are gold medals for the 100-yard dash, the 220-yard dash, the 180-yard hurdles, and also the 880-yard relay for the years 1963 through 65. And there's no doubt that there would be 16 gold medals in there if freshmen were allowed to participate in varsity sports at that time. Bill holds records for the 100-yard dash and the 220-yard dash for both Hoisington High School and the Kansas State track meet. And Bill led the 1964 and 65 track teams to state titles. At this time, I would like to invite to the podium Mr. Bill Faflick, the Executive Director of the Kansas State High School Activity Association, for Bill Kimble's induction into the KSHSAA Hall of Fame.
Well, it is certainly a privilege to be here and to join you today for this great celebration, the dedication of a track and induction to Hall of Fame. It is my privilege to be here. So thank you, Superintendent Crowdis, Principal Mason, Athletic Director Kraft, for the opportunity to be here. Thank you to the Hoisington community, and thank you to the family, because we're here because of you guys. We're here to celebrate the life and the success of a man that's very dear to each one of you, and one that we all can learn lessons from. You know, I think about the success of an athlete. It's not measured just in the hardware that they take home, but the people that surround them. And here's a testimony to greatness. Yes, the medals are wonderful, but the man is bigger. And that's what we're celebrating today. And that's why I love to be able to come and to hear the stories of your dad, your husband, your grandfather, your friend, your teammate, because what a difference he made. You know, athletes always put on uniforms, and they represent their community. And they know, especially in track and field, that they're going to be out there by themselves, and they have to be prepared. But when they put on that uniform that says Hoisington High School, that has the cardinal red, they're going to give their very best. Yes, for themselves, but more for those that they represent. Mr. Kimble did that through his career. Mr. Kimble didn't stop when he was done at Hoisington, because he put on another uniform that makes us all proud and allows us to be here today. Through his service in the military, he wore that uniform proudly, and he made those around him better as well. And we're very grateful for his service. And we thank him for that. We thank his family now, because it's not easy when dad's gone or when your husband's gone. But he was willing to make that sacrifice so that we can celebrate and be here together today. You know, I'm a longtime athletic administrator, but more than that, I'm a track coach. Goodness, I have 4 kids. I have a relay team of my own. But I had the privilege of living and growing up in Wichita, Kansas. And Wichita is the site of the state track and field meet. And not only did I get to participate in that meet, but when I went into administration, I got to be the meet director and work with the team that hosts that meet each and every year. So I know what it takes, first, just to be on the high school team, then to go through a qualifying process. Only the best make it to the state meet. Then we have this thing called preliminaries. And the best of the best qualify from day 1 to day 2 to run in the finals. To do that, you've had a great season and a great career. But we didn't stop there with Bill Kimble. Bill Kimble was amongst the best of the best, but he distinguished himself by crossing that finish line 4 times for 3 years in a row in first place. The best of the best, wow, that is the ultimate to win that state championship. He wore that uniform proudly. He represented you as his family and as a community and as our state, and we're very proud of him. I'm going to tell you, I coach sprinters. 9.6 100-yard dash is a fabulous time. And I'm going to also tell you this, it is a record that will stand forever, because we no longer run the 100-yard dash, we run the 100 meters. You have so much to be proud of, and I am so grateful for the opportunity to join you today. I had a script to read to you, but I just like having the conversation with you instead, because the stories have been told. And my favorite is the story of humility, because that is a lesson that we can all take, especially in this day and age where it seems to be about me. And Mr. Kimble didn't let it be about him. He said, no, let's not do this Hall of Fame celebration. Let's focus on the kids that are participating now. Let's worry about my family. Let's take care of some other things. But we're glad that the time has come today that we can honor him. So I'd like to ask Mrs. Kimble and the children to come up, his kids to come up, and I have a special plaque for you to signify this induction to the Kansas State High School Activities Association Hall of Fame. As they join me on stage, I will tell you that every year we have a committee that comes together in our office, and they have a very difficult job. They have to pick the best of the best, from coaches, from contributors, to athletes. This was a no-brainer for our committee, because Bill Kimble belongs in the Kansas State High School Activities Association Hall of Fame. And it was with great pleasure that I present to the family his plaque, a plaque signifying the induction of Bill Kimble to the Kansas State High School Activities Association Hall of Fame. Congratulations. Well done. Well done.
Thank you very much, Mr. Faflick. That's very touching. Today's been a very special day. Ladies and gentlemen, today will forever be a very special day for Hoisington USD 431. We are very privileged to have Bill Kimble's name and legacy be forever recognized at our football field and track. And we are also humbled to have one of our own student athletes be inducted into the Kansas State High School Activities Hall of Fame. To the Kimble family, we sincerely thank you for allowing us to be a small part of this special day. I especially want to thank Beverly and Bridget for the constant communication we've had over the year or so to coordinate this special event. I want to thank you all for attending today's ceremony as we gave Bill Kimble his much deserved and long overdue recognition for his career here at Hoisington High School. Bill will forever be our greatest athlete ever. Thank you.